News broke out about a 9-year-old girl in Ferguson died in a drive-by shooting in her room doing her homework. She dies by a stray bullet to the chest. Last night, who do you think they protested for?
It's because of this woman sitting here with us that Jamila Bolden has a face and a name. The 9-year-old girl who was shot in the chest while doing her homework a few weeks ago right here in St. Louis. And Peggy Hubbard was just plain pissed that the next day we still had not seen who this little girl is or know anything about her, because people were busy. The black community was busy protesting the fact that the killer was being mistreated. Is that correct?
They felt that it was police brutality, that they had no right to kill him, even though he was armed shooting at the police, that he should not have been killed.
Yeah. In the meantime, so we forgot about the 9-year-old girl.
Everything about the little girl who was innocently in her room doing her homework and was the victim of just a stray bullet.
Exactly. And so Peggy made a video and put it on YouTube, seen now by millions.
Yeah.
And since then, you have been on CNN. You're going to be on with Megyn Kelly on Fox.
Yes.
Next week. Mm-hmm. You've been national news everywhere. We're seeing you all over the place. How has that changed you, and how has your message reached the
boy, am I glad you're doing it, though.
Has it changed? Well, I can't go anywhere without people stopping me and saying thank you, both black and white, and everything in between. How has it changed me? It gave me a purpose. You know, we cannot stay silent in the black community. We can't.
Right.
It is time for us to speak out, speak up, hold people accountable for their actions. It has changed me, yeah. I'm a little more careful of what I do and where I go because of the threats I have gotten,
really?
You know, from some people in the black community. But I'm not going to let it deter me. If it didn't deter Martin Luther King,
right,
then it's not going to stop me either.
Well, I mean, it's just a good thing, though, that you are giving voice to not just one voice. It seems like the whole, everybody's lumping all of the black attitude about this into, hey, the cops against us, and no matter who you are.
Well, this was never a race issue. This was never a race issue. This was straight up, downright a responsibility and accountability issue. Yeah. They made it about race.
Exactly.
People came into our community, and that person knows who I'm talking about, Al Sharpton. They came into our community and they made it about race. It was never about race. It was about right and wrong.
In addition to Al Sharpton, several other opportunists showed up, as they tend to do.
Jesse Jackson.
Because they knew the cameras would be there. Well, I'm even talking about the unnamed people who came from the West Coast to just start trouble.
West Coast and Texas and Florida and California and Minnesota. Mm-hmm. These people came from nationwide just to start a race issue.
Yes.
And it was never about race. It was about responsibility and accountability.
And really, when I think of Al Sharpton, who, you know, we've talked to him before, he's doing it for Al Sharpton. I mean, it's for his own career.
Well, let's not go off on that tangent.
Okay.
It may or may not be the case. But your point is well taken. You grew up here in St. Louis. You grew up in that area.
Yes, I did.
And you also, we talked off there for quite a time before we came in here, and you told me all the stories about your growing up there and all the advantages that you had that many don't exist anymore today, and even in St. Louis, probably because of budgets.
Even though you were a single mom, your mother was a single mom.
8 children.
Yeah.
My mom raised 8 children, got us away from abusive father. Didn't use that as a "oh, poor why me" excuse. She got us away. Raised us with our grandmother, 8 children in that neighborhood, worked 2 jobs, walked to work, didn't even have a decent coat until we children pitched in and bought her one. Everything this woman did, she did for us. She was active in the schools. She was active in our lives. She taught us manners. She taught us how to respect other people. You know, for 8 children, my grandmother and my mother were the strongest, most influential people that I have ever met in my life
You know
for
what?
that woman.
I'm so glad you're saying that, because so often everybody's complaining about, oh, the school isn't doing their job and the government isn't doing their job, and really the parent isn't doing their job.
Parents are not doing their jobs.
This is what we got it down to. And we saved the world before you got here. It's parenting and it's jobs. Just giving these kids something to do. And
Give
that's how
them
we got it.
purpose, because
Right,
when
yeah.
I was growing up in inner city in St. Louis, we had a program. It was run by the St. Louis City, St. Louis County, and Missouri Department of Human Resources, and it was a great program. They would have buses pick us up at our elementary school, which is right up the street from our house, Mitchell School, right up the street. And we would walk up there. They would put us on buses. We would go to Forest Park. We would have breakfast. We would learn how to swim. We would learn how to dance. We learned gymnastics, basketball. The boys had flag football, learn how to play tennis. And then we had reading classes. They would help us, with our reading, getting ready for school.
And these are the programs that no longer exist.
They no longer exist.
Right.
And my thing was why. It gave the children some place to go.
Exactly.
It gave them purpose. You had an understanding on different cultures, different races. We were all one, and we all got along. And it was something that was wonderful, and it was discontinued, I think, in '89.
Let's get back to your video, though, in the short time we have here. Your Don't Make Me Take Off My Earrings video. Do you feel that has reached the people you were addressing?
I do. If I can save one person, if I can save one individual, then I have reached my purpose. If I can turn around one mindset and say this is not the way to go. If my brothers that grew up in North St. Louis came out and became police officer, my other brother became a bottling manager at Pepsi. My one brother, he died by the gun. He decided he did not want to listen.
And that may then explain your attitude toward you have 6 kids.
6
And one
children.
of your sons is in jail.
Yes.
Because of you.
Yes. And my mother did the same thing. My brother, he was down that path, and my mother turned him in. He was dealing drugs. He was stealing. He was hurting people. He beat my grandmother for crack money, inch of her life. And my mother had no choice. And she had to do what she had to do. He was in and out of jail, in and out of prison. And her motto was, if you go in there after everything I did for you, that's where you're going to stay.
Now, and in fairness to your other 5 kids, they're all doing wonderfully well.
Yes.
You have you mentioned
A daughter that has a PhD
here
who's
in St. Louis.
St. Louis, who is a professor at several universities. Another daughter that's Navy, and she went to McKendree and got her bachelor's. Now she's getting her master's, and she wants to take her LSAT. She wants to be an attorney. She's like her mom. She's very argumentative. And another daughter who is a paralegal in Memphis, married and children. My youngest boy just got an interview with Vegas for MGM as an IT person. He's flying out Friday.
Nice.
And our oldest boy is in landscaping, married, and he has 4 children.
That's fantastic.
But-
So
and all of this is spawned from this program that you talked about that no longer exists. It gave you a way to grow as a person and as a human being, and from there go from living in North St. Louis to that, and having kids, and you have a family. Yeah, you're still married.
And I owe that to my mother and my grandmother, because they were the driving force in all of our children. They pushed us. They were responsible. They made it their point to come to school, talk to the teachers. They put us in church.
So your message is not just to the protesters and or the thugs, which I think your message was more to that, but also to their parents.
Their parents. You
Yes.
got to be responsible.
Yeah.
And I had a young man to tell me on Facebook, you're a deplorable, despicable mother because you turned in your own son. Snitches get stitches. And how could I, in good conscience, as a mother, allow my child to go out and victimize and terrorize someone?
What I want people to do is watch Peggy's YouTube videos. Go to Peggy Hubbard, Hubbard. And we have to say this because people are going to go to that video and some may be shocked. They have to remember who you were talking to in that video, because your language gets pretty out there.
Like a sailor. I was in the Navy. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. But with reason.
I was
You're
angry.
Talking to yeah, exactly. And you were angry, exactly.
I was hurt, angry, and just totally disgusted.
Well, God bless you, Peggy Hubbard.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. And thank you to Nighthawk Security. They made our segment possible. They are locally owned and locally monitored here in St. Louis since 1974. Home and business security for the St. Louis metro area for over 40 years. Call 846-4600 and ask for Joe.